Geez, what are we just taking an extra week off from recording? Seems like I haven't. Gotcha. It's dead. Supposed to shoot a video for cheat day last week. Just didn't feel like it. Never got around to it. And I've been here, been here all week, thinking I have to make up for a video I didn't shoot, but I'm not gonna make up for a video, man. I've been doing everything right. Got sick a little bit for like a day or two. So of course, in these days and times, I was super scared, but I doubt it was anything COVID related. So that threw a couple days off, but it didn't stop the routine or stop the show. I think it's because I added some stuff to what I'm doing, and I think I just overtired. So I'm tired right now. Just finished working out, so I'm tired now. Some cardio, some weights. The weights I was doing, I had to streamline it. I just had to revamp everything. I had to change some things around to make sure that I could function and do everything I wanted to do, because I have some stuff that I'm getting ready to start over the next few weeks. So I need to be able to carry that load. Like I said, I'm doing everything the right way. Like today, I want to talk about some of the things that, you know, I'm in a place now, physically, where I haven't been in a long time. So I kind of want to talk about some of the little things over in that period in between a long time ago and now that I noticed that I don't have to deal with anymore, that I dealt with for the last 5, 10, 15, even 20 years in some cases. Well, one of the biggest little things is walking. I can remember when I'd go to work, I'd park in the parking garage and I'd have to walk to the building, and I'd be in pain by the time I got to the building, and it would be a chore just to make it to my desk. And just to walk maybe 200 meters was a super chore. I can remember I just remember how that was. I just remember being in that pain. I can't remember ever thinking like, oh, you gotta do something about this. I'm sure I thought about it, because everybody knows when they have to lose a few pounds. Everybody knows when they have to lose a few pounds. So of course I was aware I needed to lose weight, but I can't ever remember my back hurting, and I'd be in pain, man. I remember going to the zoo and having to sit down every so often because I couldn't keep walking. And that's gone now. You know, I don't have to do that anymore. I don't even think about it anymore. I go as long as I want to go. I can walk as long as I want to walk. And that's the biggest one for me, probably, to know that I was heading towards not being able to move. I've seen those large people in beds. I've seen them in beds and they haven't left their room in 6 years. I've seen those people. To think that maybe I was headed that way, it's pretty wild. I don't necessarily like the thought, but that was me. I can't run from it. That's where I was headed. That's where I was headed. And I can remember putting that strain on my body just to walk from a parking garage to a building. That wasn't that far away. You know, I can remember getting in an elevator and leaning on the wall because it would take the pressure off my back. It would take the pressure off my body. And whew, I haven't thought of that in a long time. And to think about it now, it's pretty crazy now. Hell, when I started doing what I'm doing now, I I went a half mile before I cramped up so bad that I barely made it back home. You know, I knew that I was in trouble and I had to turn around. And that's how bad it was. So that's one of the little things, but that's a pretty big one. Driving is another one. Driving, being comfortable getting in the front seat of a car, getting in any seat of the car, especially the driver's side. And you know, most people don't think about can they fit in a car? I used to have to. Think about fitting in a car. I used to have to think about if the seatbelt would fit on me. Fitting in something like a car to drive, you know, the seatbelt is tight. And at some point, I'm sure there were times where I said, forget it, I'm not gonna wear a seatbelt, it's too uncomfortable. And that's dangerous. That's super dangerous. But, you know, I was living dangerously. That's what I was doing. So driving is, you know, now when I get in the car and I'm like, wow, room. And it doesn't matter what kind of car it is. And I'm not slim by any stretch of the imagination at this point. I still have a ways to go, but I'm getting there. But it's you know, I'm a normal fat dude now, I guess I could say. That's basically what I am. But driving was one that I don't think about it anymore. It's one of those little things that I used to have to, you know, worry about during my day. Here's one that I'm sure anyone with a stomach or gut or overweight person will be able to relate to. Tying shoes. Tying my shoes, insane. It used to be insane. I used to have to, you hold your breath. You learn how to hold your breath when you have to tie your shoes. It was rough. I can remember tying my shoes, reaching down. My shoes right there. I can go down there right now. I'm not gonna show you. I can go down there right now and I can tie my shoe with no problem. But I can remember, you know, you're stretching your leg out and having to reach and having to lean to one side and you have to maneuver to get to your shoe. If you gotta hold your breath to tie your shoes, it's time to drop a couple pounds. Don't get to the point where you gotta lean on the walls of an elevator when you're going down the elevator because you're too tired. Once you start having to hold your breath to tie your shoes, it's time to drop a couple pounds. It's time to nip it in the bud, or you're gonna take it to the next level like I did. And you don't wanna do that. So if you're holding your breath, you know, just stop it. It's time to, that's your breaking point. That's where you gotta stop, and that's gotta be your breaking point. Here's one that I don't know if a lot of people deal with or dealt with, but I used to have to turn sideways to walk through a door. The regular sized doors, I would have to turn to get through because I couldn't just walk straight through a door. And I don't remember when that started happening, but I do know that I noticed it at some point. And for years, I turned sideways to walk through doors. And you know, it was a while back. I don't know how long ago it was that I walked through a door and I realized I didn't have to turn sideways. But when I did it, it felt different. I noticed it right away, like, oh, I didn't have to walk through a door. So one of those things that I used to have to do was turn sideways. I think that's crazy. But I think a lot of things I've done as it pertains to my weight is probably pretty crazy. So that's just one of those things, turning sideways through a door. I could say it doesn't do anything to you mentally, but I'm sure it does. I'm sure it has. All these little things have over time. But I don't know. I'm just who I am. I just deal with what I deal with, and I take what I've given myself and go from there. I know all of it's forced me to make a change. This last one is a huge one for me. It's an embarrassing one. But this is one that'll really make you want to not keep stuff in your face with whatever you're stuffing your face with, and just living a lifestyle that's not healthy for you and putting on weight, the wrong kind of weight. And that's toilet seats. There's been 3 different occasions where I've sat down on a toilet seat and it snapped. That the seat has snapped, not the commode, but the part that you pull down. I've sat down on the toilet on 3 different occasions and the toilet seat has snapped. That's crazy. That's embarrassing. I can remember when it would happen, those few times it did happen, I can remember blaming the toilet seat and not myself for getting too heavy. But you look back at it, it's embarrassing. You break a toilet seat. You can't even use the toilet at someone's home for fear of, not that I would, because, it's rough. But you have to use your own toilet for fear that you're gonna break someone else's. And for me, I think that was the biggest one. That was the one that started me saying, all right, so you gotta do a little something. After the initial blaming of the toilet seat, you start to realize maybe it's not the toilet seat because no one else breaks them. So still took a long time for me to get it together, but I did, and I am. And I'm sure there's gonna be a few other little things that happen as I go along that I haven't figured out yet, that I realize that I can do in the near future. And I'm looking forward to them. And maybe I can talk about them later. I don't know what I could think of right now. Besides doing a backflip, maybe one day I'll be able to do a backflip. Just kidding. I've never been able to do a backflip unless I was on a trampoline. So trampoline backflips, not regular backflips. That's not happening. But yeah, it's these little things that I used to have to deal with that I don't have to deal with anymore. That keeps me day in and day out doing the right thing and trying to do better every day. And I think I'm gonna end this video because I need to shower and rest because I'm tired. So get your sleep. Stay away from COVID, get up and work out and be better every day. That's all I can think of. That's all I can think of to do, just be better.